No! Do not force me! Don't do this wicked thing!
A terrified scream shattered the quiet halls of Jerusalem's royal palace. A young girl came crashing through the heavy wooden doors, weeping uncontrollably, her face covered in black ashes and her hands clutching her head. This wasn't just any ordinary girl. This was Princess Tamar, the beautiful, innocent daughter of King David. Just moments ago, she wore a bright, glorious, multicolored coat, a royal garment that showed everyone in Israel she was a pure, highly respected princess. But now, that beautiful coat was torn to shreds. She ran through the dusty streets of the city, sobbing at the top of her lungs, screaming out against an unspeakable crime. Who could have done something so terrible to the king's own daughter? Was it an enemy army? Was it a giant like Goliath? No, it was someone much worse. It was her own half-brother, Prince Amnon, the man who was supposed to protect her. How did a royal palace full of glory, riches, and victory turn into a total tragedy and betrayal? How did a loving family fall completely apart? To understand this heartbreaking story, we have to rewind to the very beginning, back into the dark shadows of King David's palace. Imagine living in a massive golden palace sitting on top of a giant hill. Long before this tragic day, Tamar's father, King David, ruled all of Israel. Tamar was a sweet, gentle girl who loved her family dearly. Her full brother was Prince Absalom, a prince so famous for his handsome looks that people all across the nation talked about his long golden hair. Tamar's life was supposed to be filled with happiness, music, and safety. She was kind to everyone she met, her heart was pure, and every time she walked through the royal gardens in her multicolored robe, she brought a smile to everyone in the royal home. She was like a bright ray of sunshine in the royal home. But inside King David's giant house, things were messy. David had many wives, which meant Tamar had many half-brothers growing up in the same palace, and unfortunately, not all of her brothers had good, loving hearts. One brother in particular had a heart that was growing darker by the day. His name was Amnon. Amnon was King David's oldest son. That meant he was next in line to become the king of Israel. He had power, wealth, and honor waiting for him, but instead of focusing on being a good prince, Amnon allowed a terrible, selfish thought to take root deep inside his mind. He became obsessed with his half-sister Tamar. Day after day, Amnon would sit by his window, watching Tamar from afar. But Amnon didn't love Tamar with respect and care like a brother should. No, he wanted her entirely for himself. Because Tamar was a royal virgin living safely in the women's quarters, Amnon knew he couldn't just approach her. He wanted what he couldn't have so badly that he actually began to look sick. He stopped eating, he couldn't sleep at night, he paced back and forth in his room, getting paler, weaker, and thinner every single day. Then came a man named Jonadab. Now, listen closely, because Jonadab is a very dangerous kind of person. Jonadab was Amnon's cousin, and the Bible says he was a very shrewd man. That means he was super smart, but he used his brain for evil instead of good. Jonadab walked into Prince Amnon's room, saw him looking terrible, and said, "Hey, you're the king's oldest son. Why are you looking so depressed morning after morning? Why don't you tell me what's wrong?" Amnon looked around, made sure the guards weren't listening, and whispered, "I am in love with Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister." A real friend would have said, "Stop right there. That is your sister, and that is completely wrong." But Jonadab wasn't a real friend. Jonadab smiled a sly, evil smile and gave Amnon a poisonous trap. "I have a plan. Jonadab whispered. "Go to bed and pretend you are very sick. When your father, the king, comes to visit you, say to him, 'Please let my sister Tamar come and make some special bread in front of me so I can eat it from her hand.'" Oh, what a sneaky, evil scheme. Instead of fighting off his bad thoughts, Amnon listened to Jonadab's bad advice. He lay down on his bed and acted as if he were dying of a terrible illness.
Word quickly reached King David that his oldest son was bedridden. David, loving his son deeply, rushed over to check on him. "My son, what is wrong?" David asked, filled with concern. Amnon groaned weakly, putting on a big act. "Oh, Father, I am so weak. Please send my sister Tamar to my house. Let her make a couple of heart-shaped cakes right here in front of me so I may eat from her hand." King David didn't suspect a single thing. He sent a message straight to Tamar. "Go to your brother Amnon's house and prepare some food for him." Tamar, being the sweet, obedient, and loving sister that she was, didn't hesitate for a second. She didn't know the dark trap waiting for her. She just heard her brother was sick and needed help. She rushed over to Amnon's home, took dough, kneaded it with her gentle hands, and baked fresh cakes right before his eyes. The warm smell of fresh bread filled the room. Tamar picked up the plate, walked over to his bed, and offered it to him, but Amnon refused to eat. Suddenly, Amnon barked a harsh order to his guards. "Everyone, get out of here! Leave us alone!" The guards backed out. The heavy wooden doors slammed shut with a thud. The room fell dead silent, except for Amnon's heavy breathing. Tamar stood there holding the plate, her heart beating faster and faster. Something was wrong, very wrong. "Bring the food into my inner bedroom so I may eat from your hand," Amnon demanded. Tamar stepped into the dark inner room and reached out to hand him the plate, but as soon as she got close, Amnon grabbed her. He held her tight and whispered terrible words. "Come to bed with me, my sister." Tamar was terrified. Her heart pounded like a trapped bird. But even in total terror, Tamar showed unbelievable courage and wisdom. She didn't just freeze. She tried to talk him out of it. She tried to save Amnon from committing a massive sin and save herself from ruin. "No, my brother," she begged, her voice shaking. "Do not force me. Such a thing should never be done in Israel. Don't do this foolish, evil thing." She looked him straight in the eyes, crying out, "Where could I ever carry my shame? And what about you? You would be looked at as a disgraceful fool in all of Israel. Please, just speak to the king. He will not keep me from marrying you." Tamar said everything she could to stop him. She offered a peaceful, legal way out. She tried to appeal to his heart, his reputation, and his fear of God. But Amnon's heart was as hard as a stone. He wouldn't listen to wisdom. He wouldn't listen to God. He cared only about his own selfish desires. He was stronger than she was. He overpowered her, and he hurt her horribly.
Taking a quick pause, Tamar's story shows us real struggle, resilience, and God's purpose for women. If you want to step into that same strength and wisdom today, check out my new ebook, Becoming a Modern Proverbs 31 Woman. Scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the comments. If this blesses you, please like and subscribe to help us share these truths. Now, back to the story.
Now pay close attention to what happened right after, because this shows the ugly truth about selfish sin. The moment Amnon got what he wanted, his fake love vanished instantly. The Bible tells us something shocking. Amnon hated Tamar now with an intense hatred, a hatred even stronger than the obsession he felt before. That is what sin does, my friends. It promises pleasure, but leaves only shame, bitterness, and destruction. Amnon looked at Tamar with disgust and barked, "Get up! Get out!" Tamar, weeping on the floor, looked at him in total shock. "No," she sobbed, "sending me away like this is a worse wrong than what you've already done to me." She was right. In those ancient times, throwing a woman out like trash ruined her entire future, her protection, and her place in society. But Amnon didn't care. He called his servant and shouted, "Throw this woman out and bolt the door behind her." The servant grabbed Princess Tamar, shoved her out into the bright daylight, and slammed the heavy wooden door shut. The iron bolt locked with a cold, heavy clang. There stood Princess Tamar, alone, traumatized and shattered. She took that multicolored royal coat, grabbed it with both hands, and tore it to pieces. She picked up ashes from the ground, threw them over her head, put her hands over her face, and walked through the streets of Jerusalem weeping at the top of her lungs. She didn't suffer in silence. She let the whole world know that an injustice had taken place. As Tamar walked crying through the city, her full brother, Prince Absalom, saw her. He ran to her, saw her torn dress and the ashes on her head, and his blood ran cold. He pulled his weeping sister into his arms. "Has Amnon been with you?" Absalom asked softly, already knowing the awful answer. Tamar couldn't even speak through her tears. Absalom looked at his sweet sister, his heart burning with rage, but he knew he had to be strategic. "Be quiet for now, my sister," he whispered. "He is your brother. Don't take this matter to heart right now." Absalom brought Tamar into his own house to keep her safe. From that day on, Princess Tamar lived a quiet, lonely life inside her brother Absalom's house. She took off her royal robes and never wore them again. Now, you might be asking, what about King David? What did her father do when he found out about it? When King David heard about what happened to his daughter, the Bible says he was furious. His heart was burning with anger, but David did nothing. He didn't punish Amnon, he didn't confront him, he didn't bring justice for Tamar. Why? Because Amnon was his firstborn son, and David loved him, and perhaps David was reminded of his own past mistakes. But David's silence broke his family even more. He failed to protect Tamar, and he failed to stand up for righteousness. And because the king stayed silent, Absalom decided to take matters into his own hands. Absalom hated Amnon with a burning passion. For 2 whole years, Absalom never said a single word to Amnon, neither good nor bad. But underneath his calm face, Absalom was planning a cold, deadly revenge. 2 full years passed, 2 years of Tamar living in sadness while Amnon walked around as a free prince thinking he got away with his crime. Then came sheep shearing season, a time for massive feasts, music, and celebrating. Absalom threw a grand party at his ranch and invited all the king's sons, including Amnon. During the feast, while Amnon was eating, drinking, and laughing, Absalom gave a secret signal to his servants. "Watch Amnon," Absalom whispered to his men. "When he is happy with wine, and I say strike Amnon, then kill him. Don't be afraid, I have ordered it." Suddenly, in the middle of the celebration, the servants lunged at Amnon and struck him dead. Panic broke out. The rest of the king's sons jumped on their mules and fled for their lives, thinking Absalom was going to eliminate them all. News rushed back to King David in Jerusalem. Absalom has killed all the king's sons.
David tore his clothes and threw himself on the floor in utter grief. But Jonadab, that same sneaky cousin, stepped up and said, "Don't worry, my lord, only Amnon is dead. This has been Absalom's plan ever since the day Amnon hurt his sister Tamar." Absalom fled the country to hide in distant lands, leaving King David's family completely shattered by sin, anger, and revenge. My friends, the story of Tamar is one of the most emotional and honest stories in the whole Bible.
It doesn't hide the painful mistakes people make. But even in this dark story, God has powerful lessons for us today. First, sin always has consequences. Amnon thought he could satisfy his bad desires in secret, but his actions ruined Tamar's life, destroyed his own life, drove his brother to murder, and broke his father's heart. We must stop bad thoughts before they turn into terrible choices. Second, silence is not the answer. King David was angry, but he stayed silent. He didn't bring justice or heal his family. Because he didn't act, Absalom took revenge into his own hands. When we see something wrong happening, we must speak up and do what is right with courage and love. Third, God sees your tears. You might wonder, did God forget about Tamar? No. Even when humans fail us, God does not forget the hurting. The Bible tells us that God counts every single tear we cry. Tamar's story was written in the Holy Bible so that for thousands of years the world would know her name, know her innocence, and remember her courage. If you have ever been hurt or treated unfairly, remember that God sees you. He knows your pain. He values your life, and your true worth as a child of the heavenly King can never be taken away from you. What a deeply moving and powerful story from the Bible. What part of Tamar's story touched your heart the most? I want to hear from you, so please leave a comment right down below and let's talk about it. If this video helped you understand the Bible better today, please give it a big like, share it with your family and friends, and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss our next animated story. Now, what story should we cover next? Should we explore the epic story of Absalom's rebellion against King David? Or would you like to hear the inspiring story of Queen Esther's courage? Drop your vote in the comments right now. Thank you so much for watching. Stay blessed, and I will see you in the very next story. Bye-bye.